Hello, I'm Ira from Kotzur, and we're very lucky to have Kerry Miles from Grain Protect here to go through a typical fumigation of one of our standard or most popular transportable silos.
No worries, thanks Ira, and yeah, thanks to Kotzur for inviting me out today. We'll try and go through some very easy pointers that will help guys out there that are trying to fumigate for the first time or the 100th time, and make sure that they're doing the right thing and going about it in a safe manner, and obviously using the correct amount of fumigant. So the easiest way to, when we're fumigating a silo, is we start from the top and work our way to the bottom. And by doing that, we hopefully, by looking over the whole silo, we can alleviate any doors or lids or anything like that we've missed out on. And you know, it's also a good time to sort of check over things and make sure their rubbers and all that sort of stuff are intact. These particular silos don't have ladders, so we can't go up the top, but we'll just use the ground operated lid system and the ground operated vent closing system that's on the top of these silos, and then we will shut the bottom silo door, close the fans off, and then we're going to use the fans to perform a pressure test. Okay, so there's no better time or no better way to demonstrate the fumigation of a Kotzur silo than by having our very own Kotzur sales rep here. So we're going to start now by shutting the top lid. Ira, the lid's open at the moment, so would you like to shut it? So we know that's shut now with the tension in the cable has gone loose, it's gone slack, so we know that the springs on top of the lid have actually doing their job and are closing the silo lid. Okay, so working our way down the silo, this silo is actually fitted with aeration fans. So Ira is now going to demonstrate the closing of the aeration fan here. So the sealing plates just hang off these bolts. We just swing them up into place using the wing nut, so there's no tools required. And Ira's just going to do it up firmly, but not overly tight, to make sure we preserve the life of the rubbers and preserve the life of the seal. So we've got the seal now for the bottom lid or bottom hopper, whatever you want to call these things. So I'll give you a hand to lift it into place, Ira. So you can see there, Ira's just tensioning up the nut underneath, which pushes the plate up into the base of the silo here, creating a seal. And again, he's careful not to over tension the plate to squash the rubbers too much. And then we lock off the slide valve there so that it can't be inadvertently opened whilst the sealing plate's in place. So there's a few different ways that we can pressure test a silo. Many silos, including these Kotzur ones, have got the old tyre valve, but we don't always have an air compressor with us. There's two different ways that we can pressure test a silo such as this. We can either use the aeration fans, or what we're going to demonstrate now is a more novel approach, and it's something that guys can use to pressure test their silos even if they don't have aeration fans. Okay, so Ira, I'm not as tall as you, so I'm going to use this hay bale.
Yep.
Oh, you're as well. So we've just got a standard 18 volt blower, and if we can have a look at the pressure relief valve here, you'll see that it's almost level. So we'll apply some air. When I pull this away, Ira, put that lid on. Go now. So you can see there, we've got a pretty good seal. We would wait now for 5 minutes, waiting for the pressure to come back to 50% of it being equalised, and that will then tell us that the silo is sealed, all the lids are on, and we're ready to apply the fumigant. We're fortunate enough today to have actually a really well sealed silo, and we're just going to demonstrate now as to why it's sometimes very important to do a pressure test basically at dawn in the morning, so before the sun's had a chance to warm the silo up. So Ira, if you want to shut the top lid. So we've got the whole the silo sealed up now, and we're just going to see if the pressure inside the silo increases. You can see it's slightly increasing there a little bit, which is telling us that the silo is warming up and I guess expanding, which is increasing the pressure and showing that displacement in the oil bath. And it's a really good example as to why we often do pressure tests early in the morning, because whilst it might look sealed now, it can actually give us a bit of a false reading, because the silo is showing signs of being sealed, but it may not be. So we're going to fumigate today using phosphine tablets and using the new Phos Sleeve that Kotzur are promoting. And so to use tablets, we need to work out exactly how many tablets we're going to use. So we always recommend it fumigating at maximum label rate, which is 1.5 grams per cubic metre, but we still need to work out how many tablets does that equate to. So there's a couple of different ways that we can work it out. Firstly, we can look at the cubic metre capacity of the silo. So by looking at this silo here, it's 128 cubic metres. So 128 multiplied by 1.5 will tell us how many tablets we can use there, which will give us the 1.5 grams. The other way, which is a little bit more agricultural, which is probably a way that we always encourage guys to use, because it's a much easier way to remember, and it's 2 tablets per tonne of grain. Okay, so this silo here is a capacity of 104 tonnes, or 102 tonnes, sorry. So that'll be 204 tablets. The other way we worked out before, at 128 multiplied by 1.5 is 192. So it's a fairly negligible difference, and either rate would be more than fine. So we'll jump into the PPE. But before we do go into that, we do want to highlight as well that Kotzur only recommend fumigating silos that are 80% more or full. So we've got our PPE lined up here. I just wanted to have a quick conversation with you guys about what PPE we use, and I suppose why we use it, which will then hopefully encourage more people to wear the right PPE. So we start off with overalls. Okay. Now the reason why we wear, I guess, disposable overalls is the dust, the phosphine dust that can come off these tablets gets, I guess, impregnated into your clothes. And then you'll go inside for lunch or dinner or breakfast if you've been out pressure testing your silo at dawn, like we spoke about earlier. I guess you have the phosphine with you all day, so we really encourage everyone to wear the disposable overalls. These particular overalls here, we've picked up for about $5, so they're pretty cheap, and obviously you probably get a full day's worth of wear out of them to fumigate the silos. The other one is a full-faced respirator. So the reason why we have a full face is to protect our eyes from the potential phosphine dust and that sort of thing. We also have the ABEK respirators. So it doesn't have to be this brand. Any full-face respirator will do, as long as it has a gas cartridge with it, and the gas cartridge or canister must have a B2 band on it, or B2 rating for the organic compounds that phosphine is. So it doesn't matter what brand you use, as long as it's a B2. So these ones are an A2B2 E2K2. So these ones will actually take out the ammonia that's sometimes found in aluminium phosphide blankets as well. So that's why we generally use these this sort of style. So we must make sure we're clean shaven, and the reason why we do that is so we get a proper seal on the fumigation mask. So facial hair that's going to stick outside the mask actually holds the mask out from a face, allows the gas to penetrate in behind, and essentially gas yourself with a gas mask on. The next one is the gloves. So we have the gloves on there, and it's just more protection for our hands. We don't want to have the phosphine powder on our skin. Other than sort of skin reactions and that sort of stuff, it's just not good stuff to have around. We all know what happens with phosphine tablets in water, and so we don't want to be trying to sort of wash something off our hands later on that's going to cause us some harm.
We spread the Phos sleeve out. It has an open end and a closed end. We take the open end of the sleeve, place it over the neck of the flask, and shake out the required amount of tablets. These flasks are designed to take a full 1.5 kg flask, but for today's fumigation, we're only using 200 to 204 tablets. We make sure all the tablets are inside the sleeve, and then seal the sleeve off. We simply tie a knot in the end, and it's ready to use. Take the sleeve over to the silo, open up the chamber, take the rod out and place the rod around halfway along the sleeve. Poke the rod with the Phos sleeve back up into the chamber, just taking care to ensure that everything is all tucked inside. Make sure that none of the pieces of the sleeve or the rod are going to interfere with the thread on the cap, and close the cap.
So Ira asked me a very good question off camera as to why we're actually using tablets in the first place. Why not use the traditional bag chains that guys have generally always used in these types of silos? There's a couple of different reasons for that, Ira. Firstly, the tablets are much more cost effective. So the 1.5 kilo flask you'll generally find at your local ag store for around $40 or something like that. Whereas the bag chains, they can sort of vary in price up around probably they're $35 to $40 per bag chain. In a silo like this that we just fumigated, you'll need 2 bag chains, whereas we used about half a flask of the large, sort of 1.5 kilo flasks. So that's generally why. Well, that's one reason why we would use it. The other one is that the tablets are more often than not more easy to come across, so more ag stores tend to have those on the shelf. Generally, farmers have a few tablets in the chemical shed at home as well, using the tablets to fumigate rabbit burrows and that sort of thing. So it's just another option, I guess. And there's no both options are as adequate as each other. So both tablets and bag chains or blankets will give you the same result. They'll both produce around the same amount of phosphine. So there's no reason for promoting one over the other in terms of efficacy. It's simply just a personal preference or price or access. So, yeah.
All right, no, thank you, Kerry. We'll wrap it up there, and I hope anyone watching got a lot out of that. I certainly did, so thank you, Kerry.
No problem.
And fumigate safely.